There's a total difference in the acting world when a guy says a line sitting down, then he has to walk up, do business, make a cup of tea, and say the same line. It's different, opposed to static and moving. I try to teach this to kids. I mean, the students that come here as well. Be natural, move like water. They say something like they're line reading. It's like a newsreader. What is that? So now, recently I've come up with this exercise. Just when the caterpillar thought the world was ending, he changed into a butterfly. How's that? And then we create something when the guy is down and out, and then he becomes a butterfly. Freedom, wings. You see? And that's something that's not been taught anywhere in the world, but I just do this stuff. It just comes to me, man. I just go somewhere, somebody says something. It's all about sound, listening. Keep your ears. Somebody talks funny, somebody says something, somebody laughs funny. You use that in your movie. It's character study. Yeah, no, Bruce Gounder. I was born here in Scarborough, Renishaw Hospital. Many people say why I got the name Bruce. Mom was a big fan of Bruce Lee. So actually, that's how I got the name Bruce. Bruce Gounder. My other older cousin was called Brian. So she said, let me name my son Bruce. Because she, at a very early age, she had the sights of me becoming a film actor, going into TV, going into film. And that's why I got the name Bruce. To be honest with you, none of my family, but my grandfather's side of the family were entertainers. They came from India, and they were in Tamil Nadu, south of India. There were a lot of actors that came to South Africa that did not like the place or for some reason and went back. I believe that they're doing quite well in the Tamil industry. Personally, with my mom's side of the family, with the dad's side, no, there's no actors. We were artists painting. I was a painter. My late brother was a painter. But with the acting, I was a very shy boy in school. Very, very shy that I was actually kicked out of school plays. They said, we can't use this boy, lose him. So only later I developed becoming an actor when I went to high school. And then I got my parts, and like that time we call it like what, standard 7, standard 8. That's where I got into acting, and the shyness went away. And that's what I understood about shyness. And I can be able to explain why people are shy, why they keep to themselves and that kind of stuff. And the music you listen to and that things play a very important part in where I am today. Religious side of the family, my granddad was, in those days, the people that read a book, you can say it was a fortune teller. We're very spiritual. I'm myself a very spiritual person. I'm a Lord Shiva devotee. I have psychic abilities, which is very good. They help me a lot with my acting. The moment a person comes into here, it would not take me less than 3 seconds to know that person. What's his weakness? You call it discernment, in other words. We're quite spiritual, but we are broad-minded. Being in the film industry, I think you got to respect and tolerate everybody's beliefs. When you're spiritual, you keep it to yourself. You do not need to bash anybody. Respect everybody's religion and tolerance. I think that's the way that I work with the academy and the film industry at large. We should be able to tolerate whether you believe, whether you don't believe. That's how the industry works, man. It's love. It's spreading love. It's all about love. It's all about being universal. I mean, acting is universal. Music is universal. Whatever I do is universal. The main thing is emotions. If I cry and you don't understand Hindi, or you don't understand Spanish or Portuguese, you're going to cry because it's emotions. That's what I think about that. Yeah, coming back to spiritualness. Spiritualness also plays a good part in my acting. I use it to teach people mindfulness, be water, move like water. The fundamental thing of method acting is to be able to concentrate. And if you cannot concentrate, you're not going to give you a good performance. So you got to be in the moment. Do not have a scattered brain. That's why we use a little bit of yoga. Yoga comes from Krishna consciousness, comes from Zen Buddhism, comes from Guru Nanak, the teaching of the Sikh, that you tolerate all religions. That's where I base my teachings on. And then, we do rhythm without borders, infusing different cultures from Latino, Cuban, calypso music, reggae. I'm a big fan of reggae music. Peter Tosh is one of my greatest artists. I love him. I want to visit his place someday in Jamaica. Bob Marley also played a part, Lucky Dube, a South African artist. Music as a whole, instruments, man, what cannot we do without music? With film, without sound scoring, we can't get a movie. Every single thing that I'm doing has a dramatic effect. When I'm going to pour a cup of tea, there's got to be a music. When I'm sad, there's got to be a certain kind of music. When I wake up to see, hello, who's there? Is anybody here? There's got to be some kind of music. You see, you get where I'm coming from? I know I'm deviating, but where it all comes in hand with the teaching, the spiritualness, and the music and sound. Home, that's music, that's spirituality, but it's also sound. Ringing a bell. You ask me, with spiritual coming to sound, why do we ring a bell when we go to a temple or we go to a spiritual place? Just as you would knock on my door to say me that you're coming in, I got to ring a bell to tell the God that I'm coming to the temple to pray. You see how the sound works with the bell. As a kid, I really loved teaching. I was a very shy child, and I didn't have much friends. I actually, my friends were like Mickey, Donald, these animated guys from Disney. I would sit around the TV and watch them, and that's why I learned so much about animation, voice movement, and I initially wanted to be an animator. And at that stage, things were a bit tough. Financially, my parents could not afford to send me to that. So I was always inclined to be in the arts field. I wanted to do something in the arts, teaching my parents, my the families, they have the business interests and that kind of stuff. I did work in the business, family business for a while, but it came to a stage that I said, no, this is what I want to do, arts. It's not an easy thing, but the passion is got to be, and I think it's the belief system has got to be there. Yeah. That's a very good thing you asked, because as an 11-year-old boy, there was a very big cinema here in Amzinto. It was called Kelly Cinema, 1,500 seater. And we all praised to the guy, because he would say, I would say, hey, his name was Mayan. Mayan, could we watch this movie, Enter the Dragon, man? That was the first movie I've seen, and Bruce Lee eliminate the screen. And I said, Virus, we actually got to watch movies by sweeping the floors, And then we got to watch all these movies, Hindi movies, James Bond, and that's what I said. That's where I want to be. I want to be on the big screen. And people said, no, kid, man, that's just a dream. Living in here, the South Coast, we didn't get much actors and that coming out of here. So it was merely a dream. But when I got the opportunity here, a lot of teachers even brought me down. They said, you won't make it as an actor. It's a far-fetched thing. But today when they see me, they come back to me and they apologize and say, hey, well done, we didn't expect you. That's why I encourage teachers to say, uplift kids. That's what we should all be doing. We run the Bruce Counter Film Academy. That's part of the teaching. All right. And then Fable Bridge Studios is my company that produces the movies. I've done Fish's Tale, that's coming out maybe in February in cinemas. I've done the Bushknife movie that was screened in March in Ster-Kinnick cinemas. I've done several other movies and stuff. So this place, I'm actually using it for training kids, training people, the Film Academy, but I do move places. I do move to Cape Town. I go to Johannesburg. I teach in Durban. So yeah, but basically the base is here in Scarborough, Park Rainey, Marine Drive. That's where I operate the Bruce Counter Film Academy from. I was one of the first Indian actors to go to Broadway in New York. I have a very impressive CV. At one stage, I had about 10 adverts concurrently running at the same time. I did a lot of work with SABC, Mnet, DSTV, a lot of TV serials. That's where I got my bread and butter from. And then as things going on, you start getting parts like when you're becoming stereotyped. They're going to use you as shopkeeper, Mr. Singh or Mr. Osman. And then you think to yourself, you are worth more than that, and let's try getting into production, start teaching people, imparting things. But yes, I have bigger plans. Thank you for asking. My dream actually is to maybe relocate. I want to go to Hollywood, California, maybe by next year or maybe in the next 2 years or something. I just want to do a couple more movies and then, really test myself. I was based in India for some time, but for some reason, believe it or not, the climate for I never liked it. It was quite hot and that kind of thing. Johannesburg weather is good for me. London will be good. I think the US will suit me quite fine. But Durban, no, it's quite too hot for me. I've got very big feedback. Whoever comes, I've got a 99% pass rate from the Bruce Garner Film Academy. I don't just get normal students coming. I get the seasoned actors coming. They come, as an actor, you're an instrument. You have to hone your instrument. Just like a guitar, a musician, he's got to play his music. A soccer player, he's got to hone his craft. He's got to keep practicing. And these guys come to me, they call me Master Bruce to say, this is a difficulties I'm having. I'm not moving so well. I'm delivering dialogue where I'm hitting the mark and I'm not being able to memorize my lines. So I've got a guy called MD. He's gone to New York. He's gone to LA. He's been cast in Biko. He's done a lot of TV work. Another 5 of my students featured at the 48-hour film festival, somehow in Uzalo. So this is what I like. I like feedback, just not teaching people, taking their money, and then not worrying about what happens to them after that. It's always good. I'm not an agent. I teach people how to act. I don't represent everybody, but at the same time, I should not be selfish. I should be thinking, hey, Vikram, you're quite talented. Come on, man, are you getting any work? Why am I teaching you how to audition and how to play to the camera if I'm not worried if my theory is really going to work? So I get good feedback from the casting agents. A couple of my people have been casting a Netflix original. I think they start shooting at the end of October. And when the casting director and the executive producers phone me and they tell me, I always ask for feedback. How did my students do? They said, Bruce, they were very professional, behave in a very ethical manner. Professionalism is very important, punctuality and this kind of stuff. And so, yeah, this kind of helps me. It helps with feedback. You want to know, and it enhances the academy as well. So that is why I got the opportunity. This is my second year I've regularly visited the Ugu Film Festival as just a normal guest networking. But last year I taught a master class. I was so impressed that some of the stars from Black Panther were here. Sir John Carney, he was one of the actors, and some other guys. And this year I'm going to teach a master class to some of the Hollywood action heroes, like Peter Pan from Foggy Mountain, and quite a few local people are going to be there. So it's quite exciting. Everybody wants to learn the uniqueness of the Bruce Gounder approach to method acting. What is it that makes why is my acting so unique? Because I infuse animal behavior, dance movement, sound, and nature, and to bring it to life. Yeah. Okay. When you'd come in here, what I do is, okay, we have a little bit of a chat and everything, and then we do warm-up exercises. Warm-up is very good, then we do the breathing techniques. I always say an actor should not be able to make a fool of himself. And I do funny things because if you're too conscious of what you're doing, or I always say put yourself in a circle, a bubble, we call it a magic bubble, so don't worry what happens outside. Hey, Ishmael, how are you doing, buddy? Hey, I see you acting there. No, you just focus on the bubble, man, and you're inside this magic bubble, and what happens? From there, I could see if a person is in the moment. I give you exercises like drunk spaghetti, happy spaghetti. I want you to do funny things, funny exercises, breathing exercises, and then from there I could see who's holding back, who's restraining, and immediately I know what's your weakness. With diction as well, we do sound. E-R-O, diaphragm. My name is Bruce. I speak clear. My name is Bruce. I speak powerful. So working from the diaphragm, sound, clarity. You would know more than anybody in movies when you put this thing, it's got to be clear. Whether I'm whispering, they're here. They're watching us. Would you see? It's sound. Whether I'm drunk, but I still got to speak clear. That's the problem we have. People think if I'm drunk, no. How can you pick this up, man? You got to know the audience want to listen to what I'm saying. So it's important that uh, uh, you speak clarity. Your voice at the same time, you cannot be monotone. You got to vary yourself. That's why we say your subtext, whatever you speak, you go from high to low with voice, and then your character is not monotonous. Well, hello, Charlie. Thought I was dead. Think again. I'm alive, you shit. You see, it's variation of voice. It's not being the same person. So blinking too much, that's a no. But you see what happens? A lot of people are not acting with the eyes, and the eyes is a window to the world. You got to work with the eyes because you got to move the eyes. Eyes are very important. At the same time, actors, they kind of do this and they kind of do this. They don't know what to do with their posture. But you see, I always encourage actors to do some kind of business. If I'm talking to you, maybe I have my hand in my pocket, or then I hold this, it's a kind of a weapon, and I got something to play with while I'm talking with you. Then I'm not slouching this way. My hand, I'm doing some kind of business. But if I'm just going to sit there like an interview, then I won't know what to do. So that is why a director should be able to give an actor some kind of business. Pour a cup of tea, have a sip of the tea, put it down, and then have a conversation. So there's movement. You're not static. So that will elevate the problem of slouching, and that's the worst thing if you're robotic. And a camera, more than anybody else, it's a person, it's an audience. You cannot lie to a camera because the camera is very sensitive. It picks up when you just fake. That is why method acting is so great and magical, because the camera can tell you whether you're truthful or you're fake. Yeah, it's a kind of a thing. And the question you were asking me, the first time I actually met a real movie star, I had a little part. I just had two lines. I had to go and say, "Sir, there's your order." A guy called Richard Greco. You must have heard of him. He looks like a Johnny Depp kind of guy. The Portuguese look, Latino look. And man, I said, this guy, I've been watching him on TV. Now I get the chance to see him. And that was the first major star I ever met. As I told you, I was not the best of actor, and I had to say, is it? A guy just had to have me because I was so bad in acting that they felt bad actually. They just, because, they said, all right, we'll give him a part and let him just say, is it? And that day I practiced the whole weekend saying, is it, is it, is it? But when I went on stage and the character said, and it was time to deliver my line, I said, it is. And you see what happens, see the difference? And I thought that was the end of my acting career, man. And the people would laugh at you and that kind of stuff. But that was the earliest memory. And coming to when I went to Johannesburg, and then you had to learn multicam experience when you were acting with a lot of cameras, and some of the great people like Lee Bester, these actors from Igoli, and I had a program. It was called 102 Paradise Complex. I played the part of Mr. Singh. That was my biggest TV break. I appeared in 24 episodes, and I think that was and I said, man, am I really doing this? The thrill of being there on set, working with these veteran actors. And the first thing I learned, well, you learn your lines and everything, but it's like you play off each other, play off the character, play off the energy. It's not about merely I say a line, you say a line. You play according to the subtext, and I learned a lot from that. That was the biggest thing, I could say. But then I did a lot of adverts. I featured in a lot of adverts. I remember doing my one advert, if I could mention, for SABC TV license. It was about a guy, a crazy man, looking for this fly. And he goes like this, and then he bashes up everything. And then you have to pay your TV license. So that one advert got me noticed. And everywhere I would go to say, hey, there's a guy from the TV license. So I did a lot of funny adverts on TV. That was a turning point. And then I started getting an agent. It's very important, as I said, in acting. Man, you can get work, but without an agent, it's far and few, So it's important that you get a good agent. Agents are not supposed to charge you as well. So I got one of the best agents in Johannesburg. They got me a lot of work. So I was quite fortunate. Some of the actors from the agent, man, they worked at Tsotsi and Gavin Hood. He directed an Oscar-winning film and that kind of stuff. So it's quite exciting. That was quite good. It was an advert, and I played a photographer. So I had the opportunity of standing just where you are here and looking at him, and she's tall, she's beautiful, she's sensual, but there are certain guidelines and ethics. She was very friendly. She shook my hand. Hi, my name is Bruce. We spoke and everything, but we had a briefing just before we went on set. And guys, do not make conversation with Charlize until she does. Do not take photos with her without a permission. Do not stare at her or look at her directly, because it's a no-no. Okay? If she comes up to you and she wants to talk, then you talk. But then she had a double. She would only come in for the close-up. You would know. Then you had the double that doing the wide shots and the standing, or you call it the standing. That was quite exciting. Working with some of the great actors. I had the opportunity of performing in Broadway, meeting Samuel L. Jackson, one of the most down-to-earth persons. Richard Gere, great guy. Denzel Washington. The advice I got from him is just priceless. Oprah Winfrey, I met her. One of the great people I met was Amitabh Bachchan, one of the great icons from India. Great, they call him Mr. B. So I have learned from the best. I have met the best musicians. I had the opportunity of meeting Lucky Dube. I would say it's one of my greatest influences in South Africa. His music has helped me a lot. When I was a little boy growing up, you could say from standard 8 to 9, those days they sold cassettes. The first album or cassette I bought of Lucky Dube's was Think About the Children. Then I got Together as One. Then I got Slave. And man, I listened to this music. For some way, it resonated with me. And the greatest time was when I went to Downtown Studios and I met Lucky Dube. Well, before that, I went in concert and I couldn't see him. It was quite far. But when I went there and I said, you know what, Lucky, I'm your biggest fan, man. He said, what? Are you stalking me now? I said, no, I'm just coming to see you, man. And I love your music. And when he shook my hand and he gave me a ticket to his concert, I think that's something that's priceless. Local artist. I think Lucky was one of the guys. Besides Michael Jackson, I don't think nobody moved like Lucky Dube on stage. So I had an opportunity that's how to meet Lucky Dube and go to Downtown Studios, meet Brenda Fassie. When you start off in the industry, you got to do something to make a living. And there was a thing in Melville called Times Square. Not Melville, Rosette, what was the other place? Rosettenville, Yeovil. Are you familiar with Yeovil? So that was the actors' hub. A restaurant called Times Square, and I worked there as a waiter. And this is where all the actors and musicians would come. And I got a chance to see my burr, they called her Brenda Fassie. Oh man, she was great, and she was bubbly, exciting. And then one day she came there and I served her, and then she dropped her key down, and I went and I said, ma'am, there's your key. And she said, oh, she took out $50, man. In the early 2000s, somebody to give you 50, that was a lot of money. It just made my wages, So yeah, I did meet a lot of people, and it was quite exciting in the music industry. Being to Downtown Studios, going to Gallo Music. I met Dave Siegel, one of the great producers and engineers that did all of Lucky Dube's music. I did not know that his daughter was Rio Siegel, the lady that played my love interest in Fisher's Tale. And she told me, you know what, my dad's Dave Siegel. I said, wait, did he work for Gallo? He's the guy that did Lucky Dube's music. And she said, yeah. So it's a small world. Interesting stuff. Yeovil, that was my first move. I was into the business field, still apartheid time. I did get a few gigs at the Natal Playhouse doing Shakespeare stuff. And then I met a guy, Vivian Morley, a great actor. And I said, you know what? I want to get past the movies, man. I want to act. He says, man, you've got these qualifications. What are you wasting your time in Durban for? You got to keep your ears close to the ground. They can sound. Listen. He says, what do you do? He says, go to Johannesburg, go to Johannesburg, go to Johannesburg. So the first thing I took this chance and I looked up the papers. I stayed in a place somewhere in Carlton Center near there in a hotel for 2 days, and then I would buy the paper And then there was a place in Yeovil, a guest house. So I went there with my brother, my two brothers and I. We went there. We said we're going to make a life for ourselves. So that was the first place I stayed in Yeovil. My brother got a job. My other brother got a job. We stayed there for about 3 months. We enjoyed it. Loved the place. Then my brother says, you know what? We can now afford to move to a better place. I'm earning quite well, so let's go to Glen Vista. And then, so we moved to the Glen. It's street smarty. It's street, that's where we got all our things about going to Johannesburg. I think if one can survive in Johannesburg, you're kind of going to go a lot of places. If you know how to move the streets of Johannesburg. When we first got there, we didn't have a car. We had to, we started from scratch, and then you got to take the taxis, the bustling taxis, Bree Street, JP Street, and go to all these different places. That time you had a map. You're getting an audition. I want you in Sandton. I want you in what's this? I want you in the other part of the world. I want you in Germiston. You just gotta go. That's how it went. With auditions, you gotta be there on time. But mostly things happened in Rosebank, around Rosebank, Sandton. That's where most of the auditions happened. Rosebank, Sandton, and closer to the SABC, they had Gaino Studios, one of the very popular people. Gaino. The fundamental thing of auditions, you're gonna go to a lot of auditions. That's the thing is that, and what I teach people personally, you and I as well, we should not take it personal. Sometimes you may go for 100 auditions and you're not getting, what am I not doing right or whatever it is. It's just you're not good for the part or you're not just right for the part. But then again, you should have a very thick rhino skin that, to say, look, okay, it's not personal. You're going to get a lot of rejections. I never cracked my audition at the first time and the second time, and then they give you a feedback from your agent. They say, okay, this is what I wasn't doing. And it set me back, actually. I felt a bit, there were a lot of international movies that I was called for, and they said, you're going to get, like a Western, and I didn't get it. And I was quite hard on myself. But when I finally did go for the audition, what happens is they'll give you an audition brief. The agent calls you. If it's an advert, they'll tell you, okay, we're auditioning for a certain product. You go there, you do the audition, they like you, and sometimes you gotta go with your gut feeling, because the guy that's the camera guy or the casting agent, she'll be there, and the guy that's here, they don't give much. They'll say, oh, well done. Oh, that's exactly what I wanted. You nailed it. You were brilliant, but you never get called again. You see, but then with some people, they don't give much. And then it usually happens after about 5 or 6 days. Then your agent calls you and they say, you know what, Bruce, you've been shortlisted or you penciled for this. Can you go back for a call back next Tuesday? So what happens, the fundamental rule is until you go for an audition, if you had a beard or you had your hair in a different color, keep it there. Don't change it because they cast you, they liked you the way you were. And when you're going back for the callback, go in the outfit that you were dressed and go exactly and do exactly what's there. But the only difference at the callback, if it's an advert, the client will be there and the director is going to be there. And the callback is the director just wants to see if you can take instructions from him. He's going to give you certain things. Do this in this way, do it in that way. And if he can do that, the director says, you know what, this guy can take instruction, he's not going to waste time, because adverts take a lot of time. An ad can take up to the entire day just for about a 2-minute thing. You see? And then it's lucky if you're, sometimes you work on the advert. It's good if you're the lead actor in the advert. Obviously, you're going to get paid for being there and being featured. But sometimes you go in an advert and when they edit it, you may just see your hand or something and you don't get paid for that. So it's a disappointing thing. There's so many disappointments you got to be aware of in the film industry and that kind of stuff, I've had my friends work with me in movies, and then for some reason, the director decides that this scene is not going to make it for the final cut, and they chop it off and it doesn't appear there. And then he invites his whole family and invites everybody to the premiere, and hey man, where are you? Can you imagine? This is the disappointments that happen. So, hey, buddy, what happened? I just saw your shoe, man. I recognized your shoe. So you see, so unless you're not the main actor, you're just a support. It's up to the director when it goes to editing and they cut you off. It's a harsh feeling. It's a harsh world. The good thing is about being on a film set, man, you're never hungry. You eat well, you get to see people and you enjoy yourself and you spend time with other people. And actually what happens to actors is if you're spending a lot of time with people and then when they go home, they become themselves and withdrawn, and that's what depression kicks in, you see? You become you bond with this family and then suddenly, oh, it's rap. We have a rap party and then everybody parts ways. And then what happens? You don't see each other again. You see, these are the things that affect people. Fame, we talk about fame, we talk about these things. Fame is actually a drug. Some people actually get sick of fame. The one time in my life, 2006, I was at the highest. I was one of South Africa's most famous actors, most famous Indian actors. I did a movie called Run for Your Life. And I couldn't walk the streets amongst the Indian community. And then I went to Johannesburg and I came back and I was mobbed. I was interviewed at the same station, East Coast Radio, with Ali Campbell, these guys from UB40. We sat in the same chairs and they interviewed me with UB40. But I didn't handle fame so well at that time. So what did I do to numb my fame? I started drinking a lot. You see? So what happens when you drink? You can face the public. And then what happens the next day? You're getting up, you're depressed again. And then you go back to do a show. Oh, he's good, he's numbing himself and he's happy. But then what happens when you have to go back home and it affected me for about the whole year. And I said, no, this is not the way I want to lead life. I'd rather do it responsibly and I'd rather be truthful in this interview and tell people, youngsters, to self-guard themselves when it's fame. Fame, as I said, it's a drug, but that is why at the academy we teach people how to handle fame and how to manage fame as well. Because it can kill you, man. You have to decompress. It's good that you asked that because you go deep into a character. If I'm playing a very aggressive, volatile person that beats people up, he gets mad and he's psychotic, and he's deep into this character. And what happens after? Because you live the character until production ends, all right? So what happens then? He's got to de-stress. He's got to listen to good, loving music. That's where music comes in. Listen to music. Listen to music that's going to soothe you. Listen to kind of things that's going to take you out of that. Go to some function, go to some party, get some happy things in your life. But coming back to your question, I'm glad you asked this. Bruce has gone to an audition. He's auditioning for the lead character, Dreamy Dave, and I played Dave. I go for the audition. They give me they call it sides, so which I should learn. And then I go there. I should go prepared. I shouldn't go there unprepared, not knowing my lines. Then I would deliver my lines. I would dress accordingly. It's very important when you're going for an audition. If they ask you to dress as a lawyer, dress as a lawyer. If they ask you to dress as a ballerina, don't go dressed as a nun. So you dress the part. So then I go there. I audition for the part. And then these things, be very correct when you're filling in the form. So you fill in the form. Can you see without these glasses? Do you need glasses? Will you be able to perform with those glasses? So in my case, I do have contact lenses. I'm short-sighted, so I would be able to say, rely on that board. So be honest in your interview, right there. Can you see? Can you speak Afrikaans or can you speak Portuguese? Can you speak? If you cannot, be honest. All right? Fill in the form, fill in everything. It's an NDA. And then what happens after about a month, about a week or 2 weeks, you get a call from your agent. Bruce, you've been shortlisted for this major movie. You get very excited. And then you go on the day. Director wants to see what you do. The clients are there and everything. And I think within a second day, they'll call you to say, Bruce, congratulations, you've got the role. Because you have an agent represents you, you sign the contract. After signing the contract, they would give you a script well in advance. So you get your time to prepare now, man. You go into character. thorough research. You call it a character Bible. Where does this guy live? How does he walk? How does he eat? What does he do? Because you're internalizing everything from internal, exterior, outer. If he has to have a beard, grow a beard. If he has to have dreadlocks, grow dreads. If he needs to sing and dance, start learning to sing and dance. So that's thorough preparation. Okay. Obviously, you're going to go for a wardrobe call. They call it a costume fit. So they do your costumes and everything. So they give you about a 2 months. So in that 2 months or 3 months, you memorize your lines. So what would I do? I would read my lines, get to know the script, do my character study, get ready intense. If I'm playing a psych patient, I would visit psych wards, mental institutions to get real hardcore. And then what happens? We read a part. I would do a parrot system, read it line by line by line by line. So I memorize the lines, understand the character. Then I would start putting feeling and emotions, and then getting to learn my lines with somebody else. All right? Because it's good that you learn the whole script. You know your character. Because remember, when you're shooting a film, you're not shooting on page 1. You could shoot scene 22 today. That's how it is. And the exciting part is then you get called on your first day of shoot. They welcome you. It's a greeting. You meet everybody. You still stuff, and you work together. You're having breakfast. You're working with the actor for the first time. Sometimes you treat everybody the same as you would treat the extras, the crew, because they're all important. So you get working. It's tiring. You get call times 4 o'clock, 5 o'clock. It's breakfast, makeup, hair, getting the costumes. It's a hurry up and wait game. You get a call sheet day before saying, Bruce, you need it on set at 6 o'clock. You get there at 4 o'clock, breakfast and that. You only get to shoot your scene at 9 o'clock sometimes. So you have to have patience. Take a book, take a game or something, or listen to music so you do not get bored. If you do not feel like talking to anybody, just keep to yourself. If it's a method acting, they will understand until production is finished. So this happens, production can last something 2 to 3 weeks. And what happens when production ends? They call it, they would say, guys, this is the end of production. We're having a wrap party. Then we throw a major wrap party. And then we all get together, the directors and whatever, party, and we enjoy ourselves. And then they say, and the next day, buddy, it's just you're back to Bruce. You're being yourself. And that's when the emotional starts kicking in. Man, I got to go home. I still message these guys, hey, miss you guys. When we gonna hook up? It's gonna last for about a day. You're still emotional. You're still in that character. You're still in that phase. What do? Watch a movie. If you don't want to watch a movie, listen to some music. Go and watch a group playing somewhere, live concerts. Do something that will get you and remove yourself from the character. Remove yourself. It's a process, remove. Sometimes you have to lose weight for the character, eat well, start doing other stuff, therapeutic, listen to music. It's a spiritual thing, and then you start coming back into. And then what happens? It goes into post-production. So it's going to normally take about 5-6 months, maybe 8 months. And then what happens is we get a world premiere. That's the biggest day of your life, where you get to wear these tuxedos and walk down the red carpet. The most exciting time, man. And then you get but what happens before that? We usually have like a test screener. We get to call some audience to watch the movie, okay, and see where they laugh, how they react. Then the editor or the director will go back and say, okay, let's fix this. This is not working. According to the audience, that guy didn't find this funny. And then we have the world premiere. After the world premiere, there's press junkets. There's adverts going out. The trailer will be showing on TV, showing in cinemas, and it goes out, Netflix and all these channels. And that's what happens. You get the reviews, whether it's bad. You got to be prepared for all those stuff. I didn't actually turn any gigs down, but there was a part, I had when you audition and then sometimes work comes at the same time. And I had this wonderful City Sessler. It was on SABC2, and I had about 15 episodes, man, and the guys, Black Brain Pictures, my good buddies. And then the day of shooting came at the same time. I had to shoot a film called Catch a Fire. And this Catch a Fire was an international movie with Tim Robbins. He's a great Hollywood actor, and Derek Luke. So I just made I just said, you know what? I'm going to go with Catch a Fire because I'm going to meet these international stars. I'm going to meet Tim Robbins. I'm going to meet all these guys. I'm going to have to pass on a city Sessler. It was a heart sore thing. You don't know what to do, and you just tell your agent, I'm going with this. And then I went with um Catch a Fire, and I got to work with Tim Robbins. We worked in Secunda in the minings. It was also a historical piece, a political piece. I played one of these political people. I'll try and get his name now, that sets up these bombs, and they bomb Secunda mines and all these stuffs. So it was quite exciting. And I worked with Philip Hughes, a great Australian director, great Hollywood director. He directed Angelina Jolie in The Bone Collector with Denzel Washington. So just being on set with him, I learned so much. Man, he's a great director. I said, I learned so much. So these kind of stuff, meeting a famous person like Derek Luke, I watched him on TV, and then the kind of, you learn stuff, you learn stuff. They don't give much. It's a closed book, but whatever you learn, keep your eyes and ears peeled. So it was a great opportunity, yeah. That was good for me. And another good international film that I had an opportunity of working was Andre Stander. I don't know where you were when Stander. You must be know about Stander. Andre Stander was a policeman in Johannesburg in the 70s. Okay, so maybe your parents will know him. Definitely ask them about Andre Stander. So he was like a big guy in the police force, Rosettenville, all these areas. But what he did, he became a bad person. He was robbing the banks. As a policeman, robbing the banks. So they made a movie out of Andre Stander, and the guy that played Andre Stander was Thomas Jane. I think you must have watched Deep Blue Sea or something, Hollywood guy. So I got to work with all these guys, and working with Thomas Jane was quite fantastic. I just had one scene there. We were in this bank, and we had to say, there goes the Stander gang when they're coming to rob the bank. But it was good. It was fun. It was quite fun. So yeah, that was quite exciting for me as well. Bollywood is catching up with Hollywood, but no, not at the moment. They do a lot of stuff in India. India are getting very high tech. They're hiring a lot of overseas camera people. DOPs are coming from Sweden. They're coming from Indonesia. They're getting big. Yes, Bollywood is becoming very big. Bollywood actually now is surpassing Hollywood when it comes to equipment. I would say Bollywood, yeah, it's getting much bigger than Hollywood. But yes, being on a Hollywood set with big budget people like Denzel Washington and Charlize Theron, man, you arrive. That's when you arrive to see these big trailers, to see these big jibs and these cranes, and what are you just seeing on TV, and then you're seeing it, yeah, the equipment, the car chases and the things that they do. They actually don't ride a car, that. They're not actually not driving the car. They're actually towing the guy. And it's in post-production, they put in speed. These are some of the stuff that people are not aware of. It's a lot of cheating, yeah. It's a lot of cheating. And, they need to give credit to the stuntmen, because actually most of the lead actors are not doing their own stunts. I mean, guy gets hit, he falls, he dives, he gets cut. But we don't seem to be giving credit to these people. They're actually some of the unsung heroes that we should be thinking of. Stuntmen, your doubles, your crew, the people that light you up, the people that make you look good. So I think it's a thing that we should acknowledge and be good to everybody on set. First thing when you go on set in the morning, if you're the lead actor, acknowledge everybody, be kind to everybody. Be kind to an actor that has just 2 lines. Don't bring him down. If I'm doing a shot with you and I'm the lead actor and I've just got to give a reaction for you to say a line, I think it would be only fair for me to stand there and deliver my lines the way I did it when the camera is not on me, for you to get a right reaction, or for me just to say, no, I'm not available, and walk away and get somebody else just to read the line and expect you just to give me the same reaction. Can you see? It's not going to be the same. But that's what's happening normally. You're getting the lead actors that don't want to rehearse with you until the director says, let's rehearse. But that's how the industry works. You cannot take something personal. Every actor works different. There are certain actors that don't want to take a photo with you. They say, no, what are you going to do? You loved it. Man, I watched every movie of this guy's. And then the day you say, man, hey, Ishmael, can I take a photo with you, sir? And he says, no. How does one behave like that? You see? These are some of the pitfalls. Get ready for it. You're going to expect all this stuff. Method acting is a norm that a lot of people are doing at the moment. You're getting your Robert De Niro, Al Pacino, Dustin Hoffman, Jack Nicholson, Charlize Theron. They're all practicing method acting. It's a norm now. You're getting period piece. A lot of Bollywood people don't do method acting because it's just music, dancing, that kind of stuff. But also, there's a lot of emotions involved in that. But as you said, with the method acting, a lot of stunt people are doing it as well now. A lot of action heroes are doing method acting. It's precision. That's why I invented a thing called BGA remote control for precision. This way, stunt people are coming to me, stuntmen, action heroes are coming and asking me, how can, this is one of the lessons I'll be teaching at Ugo. I have to hit a person, precision, hitting you on the face. But I've invented a thing called the BGA remote control, where to get precision and timing, I would make an actor do it in slow motion first. Slow motion in different speeds, and then I would get you to do it the fast way. So your camera, you're getting it right. So this is one of the good things that's come out of that, So that's why people are getting more into the method way of giving a believable performance instead of doing other acting methods. Where you're not going to give a believable performance. Look at Bob Marley, the guy that played. There was a new movie called, I think it was called One Love. I'm just trying to get the actor that is from the UK. He had to play Bob Marley, and he did method acting. He was not doing method acting, but he had to do method acting because to get truthful performances, learn to play the guitar, learn the sounds of Bob Marley, learn the way Bob Marley spoke. But they did not use his voice. He learned to sing Bob's songs, but did not use his vocals. They used Bob's vocals, for the music part of things. Yes, music is going to play a very, very, very important part in all film. As I was talking earlier about sound and score. But what happens if you have to play a biopic of somebody like one of my greatest inspirations? I still love the guy Freddie Mercury, great singer. I Want to Break Free, that kind of songs. Bohemian Rhapsody. We had a guy called Miami, some Ramik, an Egyptian Hollywood actor. Man, that was a performance. He got into the performance. He did a great job. The late actor that played James Brown, he also played the Black Panther. Look at how he had to perform that. Music, I think getting into the character, sound is so important, as I said. For example, you were asking me about sound. If I had to get up from here, I'm going to go to the piano now. You're going to follow me. If I add an exercise called Shattered Mirror, I normally use it here. A student, we call it a haunted house. All right. So music should affect the mood. Music should affect my mood of whatever I'm doing. I'm walking here, and then I got my student there. Assuming his name is Ishmael, I sit by the piano, and then the student is going to say, I just want him to say, hello, is anybody home? Come on, this is not funny. So I'm creating now. It's a haunted house, but that music is getting scared, all right? Tap starts dripping with water. Okay. And then if I'm going into the psychosis, the mad artist, let's say this guy is Van Gogh. He paints mad, he's thick brush strokes, paranoia, bipolar. So it gave him that madness. Okay? So can you see how music plays an important part of getting into the character? So I mean, it's an interesting field. It's just by the music I can get what I want from the artist. And one of the great exercises I'm doing at the moment is Van Gogh. I loved Van Gogh. I did art. It's in college. I did it in school. I still paint, and it's sad to say that I think he sold just one painting in his life before he died, Vincent van Gogh. But one of the most, I think in 1993, one of his paintings fetched $85 million. But he died because of rejection. He died because of poverty, because he couldn't sell his paintings. He died because of alcoholism. He died because of depression. As I said, couldn't, dejection. I'm not selling my paintings. And then he became, then you study this person. As I said, I played this music, mad artist. What happens? And then he starts cutting off his ear and he starts having fight with Paul Gauguin. And then he goes into the wheat fields and then he buys a gun from somebody and he writes a note and then he shoots himself. A great artist, but what he couldn't sell his painting. But look, now you're hearing of Rotterdam, you're hearing of all the museums in Paris. They've got Vincent van Gogh's paintings. But doesn't that it hits us as well. A man failed to sell a painting. The people didn't like his paintings. They said he was a lunatic, he was eccentric and stuff. But look now what's happening. So I want to go deep into Van Gogh, do some exercises on him. That's something that I think it will affect us. As a musician, you would know better than I do. What is happening to the royalties of artists that have died, like Margaret Singana, Maslatini and the Moatella Queens? All these great South African artists, what is happening that when they die, are they not managing their money properly, or they cannot afford a burial? Shouldn't be me as an agent, I teach my actors how to manage their money, how to manage their finances, because you're not going to be working all the time. Actors, there's a recent, talking with actors, there's a lot of actors as well that are going, during COVID, we all struggled. You get actors, they're playing the repeats of their films on TV series. Why aren't they being compensated for all these things, We need to know all these stuffs. It's a question it's a topic on its own. So I think we should safeguard ourselves, be business savvy. It's good to just be a great actor. It's good to be a great musician, but also learn the business part of that where somebody could help you management funds. And I could tell you one of the great people that was business savvy when it came to managing himself was Lucky Dube. Lucky Dube was one guy. I think he was very business orientated when it comes with his music, the way he handled his stuff. He was meticulous when he went with his stuff. And I learned so much from that guy, yeah. Everybody, they want ideas, they want new ideas, and then suddenly they say, you're lifting stuff, copyright infringement, you see? So just be very, very careful of what you're doing. Lockdown, we were supposed to do the movie Fisher's Tale. We just went into production and I had gone and got all the places where I had beautiful locations for Fisher's Tale. And just when we were about to go to shoot, we heard that these rumors were going around that there's going to be a lockdown. So it affected us. It affected us for about 5 months. And then we could not earn any income. We were locked. We could not go anywhere. So business had to drop. So yeah, it affected us a lot. And then finally, when we had the chance, when I think they were going levels, level 2, level 3, you can do certain things, but you could not use the beaches, am I right? There's certain places you could not use. You were minimized with crew. There's only got to be like 50 or 20 people. So when we shot Fisher's Tale, 90% of Fisher's Tale was shot at a hotel in Durban. We had to use the hotel as it posed as an art gallery. It posed as a gallery, bar. So many scenes, like an indoor thing. But If it was not for COVID, man, I had so many scenes in Elysium. I went there. I went to Ifafa Beach. I was wanting to shoot in Scarborough. I was wanting to shoot so many things, but I couldn't do just because of COVID. So it restricted me in a way. I didn't get freedom of what I was wanting to do. So yeah, and then we had a lot of plans to shoot some Australian movies here, facilitating, bringing overseas productions here. So that fell through as well. And then after COVID, cinemas, it dropped. There was no such thing as cinemas. When cinemas were opening, what was it? Allowing 30 people, 20 people? And your content, cinema was scared to take your content. Ah, man, I can't show you a movie in the cinema now. There's no people. So you see what was happening. Distributors were not taking your movies. People were stopped making movies. So you as an actor was not getting work. You as a teacher was not getting work to teach people. So it was completely a shutdown. We had to reinvent ourselves. I think everything, it affected a lot of people who travel as well. I think the vaccine, I had to take 3 or 4 of the vaccines, and that affected my immune system. With the flu especially, I'm always getting the flu. I'm always getting, it's not like before I was not getting the flu, but somehow I think this vaccine did affect me. And we were, as an artist, because I was planning to go to the States, and I did go. I had to go much later on, but they said there was no way that you're going to travel if you do not have these vaccines. What do you do? How do you hide this thing? So we had to take it. And yeah, it did have a lot of side effects. I'm not afraid to say that, yeah. A lot of the church pastors of mine said they would not take it, but it just affected a lot of people. I think, in a way, we should be more loving. Jimmy Cliff, one of this great artists of mine as well. He sings reggae night. He says, "Remake the world with love and happiness." I don't see that happening now, brother. After COVID, I think some people are still not grateful that they're living. We should be much more happier, much more graceful, much more thankful. Like you and I here, we're doing this interview. It's a camaraderie. It's called brotherhood. It's called, in another way, it's called fellowshipping. It's what we're doing. It's happiness. But COVID, when you're talking, how is it affecting us? It's affected you and I. It's affected a lot of people. You lost a lot of friends. I lost a lot of family. But why aren't we seeing this friendliness, the kindness, collaboration, synergy? Why are people forgetting COVID and getting back to the old normal ways? That's something for you to ponder with as well. The film industry, I think the funding, the people at the hierarchy should be more lenient of learning people, of giving grants. Let people do their movies, because a lot of artists have been affected and they haven't picked up. A lot of people had to downsize, I'm sure. Musicians, actors moving to small apartments and things because of COVID. Yeah, it's affected a lot of people. I think the most people that were affected are the musicians and actors, directors, producers. A lot of studios closed down as well. I was load shedding. It does. I worked on a movie about 2 years ago called. I think I played one of the lead villains, and I noticed at that time there was a lot of load shedding. Every second, third hour it's load shedding, but they worked with generators. The movie industry not so much affected because they move for load shed. They move the generators on set and stuff. But I think even with the studios now, they're starting to use the generators. I think it's coming to a time when they actually, in a way, it's going to be beneficial. I don't know if it's going to be beneficial, but assuming you want to do a movie and you want to bring Bruce Lee back to life, will AI be able to do that? I'm sure they can. Will Elvis? You want to do a movie with Elvis? There are certain things you want to do. Will AI be able to do that? I'm sure you can. But at the same time, AI is also going to affect an actor. Maybe they say, okay, Bruce, there's no need for you to act anymore. I can create something, that's going to do a much better job than you, or I can make this guy drive the car or do this kind of thing. I don't know. I don't need your script anymore. I got whatever to create the script. I don't. It's a worrying factor. It's a worrying factor. What happens to us? It's creative industry. I don't need your ideas anymore. I'm going to use this. Yeah, I think it's going to be a complete shutdown, man. It's a scary part to think about it. It's going to leave a lot of people like the old school people were especially, I think the old school, they're going to find it a bit difficult. They're really going to find it difficult with ideas and kind of stuff and what we're planning to do. Yeah, it is surely going to affect us big time, big time. But if you're going to use it to our benefit, look, cameras, we keep buying cameras. I had a lot of cameras that I bought, but every time you go and you go and hire things from some of the big companies in Johannesburg, and then there's one here in Durban called DT Broadcasting. Man, you go there, they've always got different stuff. The Red Dragon, IMAX. There's so many different kind of Red Dragon cameras now. The Blackmagic camera, you just got a little pocket camera. You could shoot stuff with that, and it's got a great, you're shooting something dark and gritty. But how much of that's come up now? You see? And then you buy something, you cost you so much bucks, and then, but just like you're buying a new BMW in a couple of months, the value is like that. That's what's happening to equipment. That's what's happening with AI now, yeah. So, but how do we benefit? How do we make it count, or how do we work with it? We got to find a way of making things happen. It gives you something, and what happens to people that I think it's going to make people want to not be lazy, or be lazy, or start thinking. You think that you're indisposable. Well, there you go. We don't need you now. That's the end of it. I'd love this, you see, because I'm a fan of reggae music, and then could I stand up? So it's very important when we do exercises. I use Peter Tosh's thing. I say you want to work from your frame here, and how do you? It's always good that you vary your voice of whatever you're doing, and you strengthen your vibe. So I always use this. I would say what Peter Tosh says. Jah is my hero, so shall I fear? He's my guide from my right and from my wrong. So shall I fear? Jah is my hero, so shall I fear? Just about diaphragm. Great, man. Great working with you. Thank you. Thank you. You see, from a very long time, I had this gift. It all started with dreams, I would dream of things, and then the next day, I would see these things actually manifesting. For example, I would see an accident, and the next day, if I go somewhere, I really see the accident. So people thought it was kind of strange, and I would dream of people that have passed on, my dad, my great-grandfather, old people that I didn't know. I could see them, and when I went to functions, prayer functions, I could actually see people sitting around the table and eating. The people were not there. And when I go to people's homes, I could see frames of people that I could see. So it was something that started from a very early age, but I did not want to take it too seriously. I focused more on my acting and that kind of stuff, but I did have psychic abilities for sure. I definitely used it in my acting, as I told you about the method acting stuff. When a student comes in, I would immediately, within a few seconds, I would know what's wrong with the person, and I would know how to correct him and what exercises to use. But towards the beginning of last year, this, you call it a medium and a crossover a kind of a style. It's called crossover psychic medium clairvoyancy, where it became very strong and I could not hold back. And I remember speaking to you about it, and I started praying and enhancing this gift. And following rules and culture and stuff. And then I had this gift of crossing over with very famous people, people from Hollywood. It happened last year, and then because I guess I'm in the film industry, they would come easily to me. And if I could mention some names, Princess Diana, Nelson Mandela, India's first female Prime Minister, Indira Gandhi. So it quite of came very natural to me. Then I started getting into crossover stuff and stuff. It's quite intense, quite accurate. And as I speak to you here now, I also feel the very strong presence. You see, myself as an actor, I told you when you first came here, an actor has to know everything. He's got to be curious. He needs to go beyond what is like learn ballet dancing, do this. To be honest, I did visit a few psychic readers as well, people that cross over. You know, when you lose somebody that's very close to you, you want to get closure. And then I went to these people and I was not getting the full satisfaction of, okay, I could be honest with you. I spoke to my dad, my late brother that was hijacked and killed in Johannesburg. And they were not giving me things, you know. I was thinking like I'm actually the middleman. So they go to speak to that person and that person. So I wasn't getting full joy. And then I said, you know what? Then I just started talking to my dad, like the things that we went and we got from the place today. And I started putting these things and they came in so clear. And what is so good that I could actually see them dressed in certain outfits, my great grandmom, my grandma, my aunts, everything. And I spoke to them and then I put out adverts and I said, and then somebody said I should call myself because they came in for a reading and they said, wow, Bruce, you're very good. Can we call you the spirit weaver? It's more with the native Indians and the way the spirit weaves, you know, it's a form of channeling. And then I remember a guy came to me all messed up. I told him, buddy, you know, these things we can't do for free because it's an energy exchange. You got to put in something there because this gift was given to me, as I explained to you, by Lord Shiva. He came to me with a lot of problems. He'd been retrenched from work. They never wanted to pay him his money. He didn't know what was happening. He had a family to feed. For some reason, for professional reasons, we would not name him and stuff. But and then he wanted to speak to his mom that's passed over, or in psychic terms or crossing over. We call it crossover, somebody that's gone to the other side. His dad that's crossed over. He came in like a wreck and I said, I know the guy. But when he sat down and I began to tell him his problem, you know, about the work situation, that he's going to get another job and your dad says you should be doing this and your mom says you should be doing this, you should be taking care of your health. And I got a feedback I gave him a time frame and within a month he came back to me and he said, Bruce, I thank you. He blessed me with a lot of fruits, a basket full of fruits actually, and he said, this is what's happened and everything that you told me has come to pass. And that was quite actually, when I do these readings, I like feedback, you know. I like the person to come and tell me, thank you. And I've had so many feedbacks. And the only thing that I ask for people, when they come back, I say, just bless me with a bunch of roses or fruits. This is spiritually speaking, the gods that I pray to, they love roses, flowers, fruits, and that kind of stuff, you know. And so he came back and he did it. And it kind of spread to a lot of avenues because we know this guy is a filmmaker, is an actor, he's a director, he's a producer, he teaches method acting. We never knew about the spiritual part. And then I'm so glad that you are the first journalist, the first filmmaker documentary that I'm actually giving you insight into how I do this channeling, and you will get first glance of whatever happens. And I'm sure that a lot of people are going to give you insight to what happens. You know, it's got to be done the right way. We cannot do cold reading. Cold reading is when you do not go into the meditative state and I do these things and I just kind of guess and tell you things it's not going to be authentic. Just like I said with method acting, it's got to be authentic. You got to feel it. I got to believe in myself. And mind you, one of the people that I did cross over was with Marlon Brando to find out how I'm teaching method acting. And I'm not going to lie, he was very critical. He said, Bruce, some of your students are very, very weak. This is some of the things that you got to do with them: authenticity, believability, physicalization. Let them go back, revisit past traumas and bring the characters to life, because the camera never lies. So it's kind of helped me with my method acting as well. It's kind of helped me see my clients get gratification, kind of get some kind of a closure that they're happy. People are very close to their dads. And some people said, my dad was everything to me. He was an advisor. He taught me a lot about business. He taught me this. But while I'm doing this, I see a gentleman holding a glass of Coke in his hand. I don't know what he's trying to tell me. He just says this. Instead of saying cheers. So that's what I'm seeing while I'm talking to you. Sometimes they come through like this. So it's kind of saying thank you for something. I don't know what. All right, maybe we'll get to that to later. And it's got a very thick accent. I'm very glad you asked it. I've read a lot of books. Look, because there was a guy called Edgar Casey. They called him I think it was Casey something, the sleeping prophet. I believe that guy could actually, when he was in a sleeping form, and people would come to him and they would ask him questions, and then in the sleeping form, he would diagnose the problems, and he would tell them a lot of things. And being a person connected to Hollywood, I've seen the way that the Hollywood stars gyrate towards channeling. And I always wanted to know. I had a lot of feedback from Hollywood saying that, Bruce, you have a very, very big future in Hollywood. I said, wow, yes, I want to go and act there. They said, no, you also need to go and do channeling and crossover reading there. Because there's some guys called, it's Tyler, he does crossover readings for the stars. And I've seen a lot of other people do that. And the lady that I went to did a crossover reading. She was actually like a kind of a hero to me, because I was quite mesmerized the way she could channel and get that person to come over, and I would be able to talk over. So I learned a lot of stuff from her. And at that time, but when I read, and my hero was a lady called Sylvia Brown, a very great Hollywood psychic reader that passed on in 2013. And I said, if I can get anywhere closer to her, that would be very good. So the one time I actually channeled and crossed over with her. And it was quite daunting, because you must remember that I'm a student, and then she's like a real, the master. And I kept lighting my stuff as I was telling her, and it kept going off and off. And I said, what am I doing wrong? And she said, son, resilience, patience, and dedication to your craft. You got to be honest. If you see something, tell it. If you don't see something, do not contort or make up things, because it'll catch up with you. And then she said, I'm doing very well. And to get an appraisal or validity from someone of that caliber, for me, I think it was a mind-blowing experience. It is a very transcendental experience for me. It helped me, it built me. So in this work as well, it's not something that you could sit back. You also have to hone your craft all the time. Sometimes I could be sitting here. The other day, I crossed over with Princess Diana, and she told me, Bruce, I think it was on Sunday, and she said, there's going to be a guy coming here with a camera one of these days, and we're going to talk about myself, and I'm going to be there, and we're going to talk. And I said, okay, yeah. And then you happen to come by. You see, so the accuracy, you got to follow things. And when they talk to me, I hear it very clearly, the clear accent. You got to see what they're doing, and you hear it's perception. It's quite interesting. And I'm glad that I've crossed over with numerous people. I'm a well-known public figure in the acting, in the film industry, and now I've got this incredible gift of channeling over, crossing over. I want to guard that closely. And I feel that you are the right person to tell my story to, because there's a lot you can do with it. And there are some people that, you're looking at today, there's a lot of great psychics that are actually going, they have their own TV shows. I haven't tried it. People ask me, why don't you go on TV? I think there's a guy called, correct me, John Edwards or something. He goes live, and then he says, I could see somebody that's doing something. I have a message from you, something. But I don't want it to be so much like a show. I want it to be authentic. I want it to be real, Um, if I get to that stage where I should be doing it live on TV, I'll have to get permission from the people that given me this gift. Maybe they want me to do it live. It's something that I would have to. Maybe the next time we do another reading, I could tell you, Ishmael, here, buddy, they told me I can go live and do my own show and stuff. But for now, it's just a private reading, one on one, to make that person that I'm doing the reading for. I'm sure anybody that comes to me for a reading, I don't think everybody would want to be like sort of on TV. I don't know what you're getting me, if you understand. So if I'm doing a private reading with somebody, they've got so many personal stories, and I don't think they would want the whole world to learn. But if it's a case of celebrities and it's a talk show or it's a series, it's a different thing. Are you understanding me? Yeah. So people kind of want closure. Some are having marital problems. Some are having. They want to know why they're dead. I mean, not everybody you would know that has a good death. There are people. Let's face reality. There are people that have committed. There are people that have shot themselves. There are people that have written letters and then they've had regrets. I've crossed over with people that have committed, but their spirits are not actually settled. They want to cross over, so they're just lingering around. And you would find that the spirits that have committed through killings and stuff, it's not everybody. God's given you a time. If it's not your time to go, you're not going to go. And if you take your own life, so you're not going to be well settled on that side. But at the same time, you're leaving a lot of pain and grief for families, you know. So some would say, I've crossed over with a lot of people and celebrities that told me, if I could live life again, I could change a lot of things in my life. And I'm glad, Bruce, that you're doing these teachings. Could you perhaps in your teaching subtly introduce something like substance abuse, fame, how better to handle fame, how better to handle substance abuse, how to eat properly? I've crossed over with very, very famous celebrities that had eating disorders and never took care of the health that actually caused them to actually lose their lives. And not everybody, people can ask depression, why is this man a coward? Why did he hang himself? There are a lot of famous people that I believe they've come to me with a message to tell the rest of the world that, look, this is actually a disease, depression, and it can be cured. We need to talk to somebody. A lot of people are going and killing themselves. And what do we say? Oh, this guy had money problems or financial. It's not that. There's a lot of Hollywood A-listers have taken their own lives. Why? Because of depression, of substance abuse. And I think there's a way that we could help them out there. And I think me as Bruce Gown, the Spirit Weaver, I can help celebrities cope with their fame. I can't do it myself. I need a group of people. I think we all have a purpose to serve. And maybe it's telling me that, we could better help these people. Yeah. Very happy to have you. If you would set your camera there. All right. I'm going to light my lamp first. Let me take out my glasses. All right. I just got to take out my glasses when I do this. All right. I'm going to. So today, the very people that are very strong that have come through is Princess Diana. Okay, she's come to me on Sunday, and we did have a discussion, and she did tell me that somebody is going to come through with a cameraman. She's going to with a camera. So she's here. She's very elegantly dressed. The thing that I could see, she's wearing a very beautiful dress, but it's a long dress, and she has a hat on. And I see this pierced blue eyes. You see, she has very piercing blue eyes, and she's come through also with a very, very happy Whitney Houston. For some reason, musicians are coming through. A lot of musicians are coming through. I don't know. Is it because something of you in I see a lot of musicians here, right? There's Whitney Houston, and then there's a lot of musicians coming through today. You got Bob there. Shitatosh Lucky Dube. So I did tell you so. This is what Diana is telling me. I did tell you that the cameraman going to come through. Yes, I thank you, Princess. He did. He did come here before. So what actually happens? Like your dad is coming through very strong as well. He's telling me that you have very big potential, as Princess Diana says and Whitney says. Much more glitz, glamour. I could only imagine they're telling me about the film industry. Okay, this is where you're heading to. If I speak to Yermon, this is what Bob Marley is telling me. Yermon, a very strong accent because you have a very strong inclination with this. With the dad has got like a short sleeve shirt. I don't know. Was he quite big size? He- yeah, he looks to be a guy. He's got a short sleeve shirt. He was a very. He seems to be a very erudite. You know, I mean, a very good businessman. When it comes, he knew his stuff. He knew what he was doing. He knew what he was doing, and then the thing in life, you need a sense of direction because you cannot be walking like Alice in Wonderland. You get what I'm trying to say? A sense of direction is you need to know what to do with your life, and I think there's a lot that you and I could do. That's what they're trying to tell me. You see, when it blows off like that, it's trying to tell me something. So these are some of the things. These people, and this is our work, Ishmael. Music videos, documentaries. But there's going to be a lot of music videos that you're going to be doing, buddy. Uh, because and MTV, Channel O. Yeah, you're going to be doing a lot of music videos, music stuff. Uh, Follow your heart, follow your passion. Okay, I think that's Hare Krishna guy. Take the. Thank you. Which means you're going to go big. You're going to go big that you're going to start needing bigger equipment, okay? I'm seeing cranes, I'm seeing jibbies, I'm seeing directing. You're directing a lot of music videos, you're working on music videos, you're doing big stuff because you're inclined to the music industry. So you can set up a whole new production company of your own where you're hiring equipment if it's feasible for you, or you're going to definitely you're having problems with editing as well. I've also had problems with editing movies, but I did all my stuff in Johannesburg. Quality has to be right, the sound has to be good. At the same time, Mr. I pray that Ishmael's things go well. We don't want any bumpy rides. And you're getting approval from all the musicians that are here, right? That's good. There's nobody will know better than the film industry that I know that I should tell you that you should have a very thick rhino skin in this business because rejection is rife, okay? Criticism is rife. Not everybody is going to like your idea. You're gonna get a lot of skeptics, like what I get a lot of skeptics. So the documentary is going to go well. I think you're going to do a second part, season 2. Yeah, you've done this 12. I think maybe 12, 13. Okay, and then you're going to do a season 2. I say, see Netflix. Have you pitched to Netflix yet? Say, try pitching to Netflix. Okay, it says you need to pitch this thing up, not just YouTube. It actually can go very big. It can actually go very big, and overseas people. Yeah, this is the biggest thing. At the end of the day, you want to be business savvy, get recognized, and make money out of this thing as well. Princess Diana is clapping. Okay? And then Whitney Houston is here. They're looking at you and they're just doing this. I don't know for what, but it's for something, whether it's your resilience or whether it's your success or whether it's your, they say something about concepts. It's something that's very unique. It's something that's a concept that nobody has done before. Just be careful. You've got copyright. You've got everything, because there's a lot of fat cats out there that are just waiting for new ideas. Just make sure paperwork, everything is legal, that you don't get done in again. And then they giving you approval. Man, your dad is proud. They're actually facing you. Okay, and this clap is coming like this. So they're talking about this concept is very unique. It can go. And from what I have here on record, there's going to be more than 2 stuff. If you're doing season 2, and something that we're saying on record is, if Netflix can buy this, I'm already seeing overseas. I'm already seeing the plane, buddy. I'm already seeing airport tickets. I'm seeing travel bags. I'm seeing people leaving at the airport. I'm seeing somebody waving for you. I'll be there at the airport when he goes. I'll be wherever he goes: Johannesburg, Cape Town, Los Angeles, Amsterdam, Portugal, Spain. Your passport is going to be stamped. I see a passport here with a lot of stamps, which means you're going to travel a lot. And you'll come back to me and you'll tell me exactly what we discussed here. Because you and I, it says you are going to be working together as well. Collaboration. Put on that thick skin. I see awards functions, documentaries, awards, acknowledgement, collaboration. All these things are happening for you, buddy. Just when you thought of giving up, things are going to start. 2025 is going to be a very good year for you. It's going to be a good year. It's going to be a good year, trust me. I'm seeing a little, like a bag, like a briefcase. These old briefcases people had? And then I see some financial stuff in that briefcase. I see you signing a lot of documents. I see a lot of lawyers. I'm seeing a lot of papers to and fro with attorneys. I even see court sometime. All these kind of stuff. It's a lot of legal work, papers, signing, documents. Thank you, Princess Diana. Thank you, Whitney, for coming through. I appreciate that you wanted to be on camera. If people just look at me, that they see that I'm talking to just nobody that's here. Don't worry about them, darling. You know what you're doing. So that's what Whitney's telling me. And Princess Diana, she's smiling at me. She said, I told you you're going to get a camera person coming through. I spoke to you on Sunday. Okay, so in a way, it's also giving you another speaking to me, all right? Are you ready to go live and do this in front of a lot of people? it's going to come a stage where you're going to be doing this in front of many cameras. You will have to focus more. You'll have to listen more carefully when we speak to you. Because remember, you have a camera in front of you, but treat that camera as if it's somebody that's coming to do a reading. Don't treat it like it's a camera, and just go your normal way you're doing things. Be natural, and we will be here. Remember, we're always here. Bob Marley is showing me thick dreads, okay, buddy? One of the most energetic spirits that I've spoken to, and you see when I do this here, Princess Diana is touching my hands. Thank you. Okay, let me put that there. Let me do this here. Put it off here. Just put it off here. Smile. Smile, can you please open the door for me?